Hello, everyone. My name is Holly, and during this hour, we will be discussing buying a house. We will do some vocabulary activities and read a small dialogue and practice that dialogue. We will go over vocabulary, and then we will end up with a final discussion questions that we will go over. So the topic for this lesson is buying a house. So I look forward to working with each and every one of you who are able to drop in today on this lesson and talk to you guys about buying a house. The topic during this class is buying a house. And we will do vocabulary. We will do vocabulary work and then practice speaking. Plus, you will get correction on pronunciation and grammar if that is needed. So again, my name is Holly, and I will be doing a lesson today on buying a house. And we will work on vocabulary activities and discuss your experience in buying a house, renting a house, which one you think is better, buying or renting, and then we will go from there. So a little bit about myself. I started teaching English in 1994 in South Korea, and then moved to Finland in 1998. And I stayed in Finland until 2009. During all that time, I was teaching English in corporations and at various places. And while in Finland, I got involved with teaching English online. And when I came back to the States in 2009, I continued teaching for a while, and that was about 6 years ago. I started back teaching again full time in September, working with Verbling, and it's been great. That's a little bit about me. I'm from Idaho in the United States, where it is 4 in the afternoon, and I had the privilege of buying a home in Finland when I was over there. So I learned the Finnish way of, which is a slightly different than the American way. My dad was in real estate when I was growing up, so I learned about this field and industry from him. And so I know a little bit about buying a home here in the US and the pros and cons. And so it should be fun to talk to you all about the different ways we see home ownership. So I'll give you guys a few more minutes to drop in, and then I'll start. Hi, Heidi. How are you?
Hello, Nick.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. So what time is it? Is it about 7?
7 a.m. here.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. And did you just wake up?
Yeah, I don't know. I woke up at 5:30. 5:30.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. So you are an early riser.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I am definitely not one of those. I usually wake up and much later. So
The weather is not good. Cloudy, overcast, and a little cold.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Even though
Yeah.
cherry flowers are full bloomed, but yesterday I went to the park. Maybe by the rain, they are hit down. I'm very sad. many pillars are on the ground.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Now, those are what color are cherry blossoms? Are they white?
Pink color.
Okay. So they are what I thought they were. Okay. Because right now they're also we don't have as many, but we have some. And I remember last weekend my niece was asking me, "What are those?" And they're cherry blossoms, sweetheart.
Yeah, in America,
So,
Washington is very famous, right?
what is?
In Washington, there are a lot of cherry trees.
Washington State or Washington D.C.?
Washington, D.C.
I have no idea. I've never been. I've never been there.
Japanese government sent a lot of trees in Washington, in America. So
Really?
it's very famous.
Yeah. I have never. I've never been to Washington D.C., but it doesn't surprise me that. And I'll have to look for them if I ever get there. So, yeah. In my the town I was growing up, they're famous for not potatoes, famous for cherries, the cherry fruit, and so every year they have a cherry festival. So, yeah. So, hi Alejandro, how are you this afternoon, or is it evening now?
Yes, hello. Thank you for asking.
And, and what time is it there?
It's 7 o'clock in the evening.
Okay, so it's evening. Okay, it's not yet evening here, so it's still afternoon. But I was commenting yesterday in one of my classes where there was one person from Asia, some people from Central America, and then some people from Europe. And the Europeans, I said good morning. Central Americans, I said good evening. And the Japanese, I said good afternoon. It's kind of funny though. How that was. So anyway, have you had a good week so far, Alejandro?
Yes, I think it was so boring because I have training on the job.
Oh, okay. So you have in English we call that OJT or on the job training.
Job training.
On the job training.
Yeah.
OJT. Yeah. Okay. So what kind of job did you get?
I am a computer programmer.
Okay. So you're learning the way things. Yeah, I totally understand that. So, are you sitting in a classroom with a trainer, or are you sitting with another programmer?
No, with the classroom. With
Okay.
with another program, yes, at the office.
Okay. All right. So the first question we have for you today, Heidi, are you planning to move house in the near future?
No, I'm living in a condo. This place is very convenient because very close to the station and the shopping mall.
So it's a very nice place. So
Yeah.
good. Alejandro, how about you? Are you planning to move house in the near future?
Yes, because here are renting a flat, and the contract is for 2 years, and in October it finish.
And
Will
do
finish.
you plan on staying in that place and signing a new? We call that actually a lease. So do you plan on signing a new lease, or are you going to move? Do you have another place you want to move?
I don't know yet. I don't know.
Oh, you haven't decided?
Yes, I not really decided about my future here.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. And I was actually looking for a place, and I was thinking about moving house about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and that was kind of what I was focusing on. And I made the decision a week and a half ago, or about the 1st of April, that I was going to just stay right where I'm at for another year. So that's what I'm doing. So, so let's go ahead and let's practice this conversation. Um, Heidi, why don't you read Charlie, and Alejandro, could you read Jim?
Mhm. Well, I finally did it. I've decided to buy a house.
That's great. Have you found a place yet?
Yeah, it's just a 10 minutes. Uh,
Over here.
walk from the station. I went to the bank last week, and they yeah, agreed. No,
Yeah.
they agreed to give me a mortgage.
So you are finally on the property ladder. Did you have to put down a large deposit?
No, just 5%. It's a fixed rate mortgage, so I should be okay each month. But I'll be making a repayment until I'm an old man.
Welcome to the club. Do I get an invite to the warming party?
Okay. Trying to get an invite to the housewarming party. Perfect. All right. Are there any words or phrases in here that you guys do not know?
Property ladder?
Property ladder. Okay, that's actually, it's kind of slang. And what it is property is basically home. It basically means home ownership. Welcome to home ownership. And it's basically saying you're moving up in the world. And a lot of times what happens is a person will buy their first home and it will be smaller, and then in a few years they'll sell it and they'll buy another home and it will be bigger, and then another home and it will be bigger. And so each home they buy is a little bit bigger. So that's why it's called a ladder. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thanks.
You're welcome. Okay, any other words or phrases?
Warming party?
A housewarming party. Okay, so it has to be a housewarming party, and that's a party that people give when they first move into a home, so that everyone can see their home. And usually, it's the person will have the housewarming party within usually 2 weeks of moving in. Sometimes a little longer.
Okay, thanks.
So you're welcome. It's interesting. I've learned, having lived in other cultures, that the housewarming party, people bring gifts, and in some cultures it's very practical gifts. In other cultures, it's not. In Finland, they would bring, all kinds of, like, a picture or a candle or something like that. And in Korea, they would bring toilet paper and paper towels and salt and things like that. So in Japan, Heidi, what kinds of gifts do people bring to a housewarming party?
Oh, maybe wine or flowers.
Wine or flowers, okay. And Alejandro, how about in Argentina?
I don't know exactly. but could be flowers too.
Okay, flowers as well. Okay, yeah, that sounds like the U.S. as well. Flowers or a chocolate or wine or something like that. Yeah, awesome. All right, so let's go on. Let's work together. All these words are connected to getting a mortgage. Do you know their meaning? So everybody knows mortgage, right?
Yeah.
As in
Yeah.
a house loan. Okay. And Heidi, do you have a mortgage?
Yes.
Yeah.
We are still paying loan to the bank.
Okay.
So this
And-
house is the mortgage.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And Alejandro, are you renting now or do you own?
No, I'm renting. I have a renting contract. I don't know.
That's what you said, yeah.
Ah,
You had
okay.
yeah, you have what you have is called actually called a lease. So you have a lease and your lease is up in, you said July?
Yeah.
So, yeah, okay. All right, so let's look at these words. We've got deposit, payoff, payback, negative equity, repossession, first-time buyer, variable rate, fixed rate, and default. So a check mark if you know the meaning. If you don't know the meaning is a question mark, and then, or I mean an X and then a question mark if you aren't sure. So Alejandro, which words do you not know the meaning to?
Repossession.
Okay. Repossession. Any others?
Yes, fixed rate.
Fixed rate. Okay. Any more?
No.
Okay. And Heidi, are there any words that you do not know?
Default.
Okay. And this is a verb. It's to default actually. Okay. And any other words?
Negative equity.
Yeah. Negative equity.
Equity.
Negative equity. Okay. Okay. So let me tell you what these mean, and then what we will do is practice using these words in sentences and so forth. First of all, the verb, we actually, it's a verb, it's to default. So if you default on a loan, it means you go back on the contract, or you stop paying, basically. And once you stop paying, then what will happen is the bank will repossess, but to repossess. So basically, the bank will take the property back. So first, a person defaults, and then the bank takes the property back. Negative equity is when the house, the mortgage on the house, for example, we'll say example, the mortgage on the house is for $125,000, but because of the economy and the way things have happened, the worth of the house is only $75,000. That would be negative equity. So, and then a fixed rate. Fixed rate means the percentage does not change. So if you get a fixed rate at 5%, it will remain at 5%. If you get a variable rate, which is this one, that means it changes. The percentage changes. It could be 2.5 one month and 3% the next month and 5% the next month and then 7% and then down to 2% and 5% and 4% and 6%. It just moves all over the place. So is that Alexander? Hello, Alexander.
Hi.
Hi, you changed your picture again.
Yes, I.
Yeah, changed it back. All right. Are there any words on here, Alexander, that you do not know?
To default, probably.
Yeah, okay. To default basically is to stop paying the mortgage. So if you stop paying, you've defaulted on the agreement. So, okay. And then what happens is the bank takes over. The bank takes the property back, or they repossess. So, say, for example, many times a house will, if the house is repossessed, and you see, if you're looking to buy a house and you see that it's a repossession, it might be very easy to get a loan for that because the bank owns it and they don't want to. So, okay. Any other questions? Okay.
Payback is when you pay.
Yeah.
Which is the difference in payback and payoff?
Okay. To pay back is when you basically are paying monthly. Okay, so you're paying it back slowly, 1 month at a time. If you pay off, that means you find out basically how much you owe and pay the entire amount at one time. So if you say, for example, you took out a $2,000 loan, right, to maybe buy a car. Okay, so you took a $2,000 loan out, you bought a car, it would be a very cheap car, but you bought a car, and you, after about 3 or 4 months, you call the bank and ask them how much do you owe, and they say, well, you still owe $1,300 or $1,300, and then they and then you decide, okay, I'm going to pay the whole thing all at once. So you pay it off. But if you pay back, you're paying monthly. Does that make sense?
Yes, thanks.
Okay, excellent. All right. Okay, let's see if we can ask and answer some of these questions. Heidi, here in the U.S., one of the problems that we've had in real estate is many people's homes have a negative equity, so they owe more money than the house is valued at, or the worth of the house. Is that a problem in Japan as well, or is it just an American issue?
Before we had I forgot. Very good economy, bubble economy, and then people wanted to buy houses because almost every month the house and the land price are getting higher and higher.
Okay.
Then the bank set up some special loan at 4 to 5 years. The interest was very low, but after 5 years, suddenly it rose up. then 5 years later, people couldn't pay back.
Mm. Okay,
Then
because
many people left their house, and even the bubble economy burned.
uh-huh.
Lost their house. House price getting lower and lower.
Mhm.
It happened in Japan. Then maybe 7 years ago, even it happened in America. The same thing.
Yeah, that's exactly what you just described is like, well, that's what had to happen in America. That happened right before I came back to the States. And so there were a lot of houses that had been repossessed by the bank and things like that. So when did this happen in Japan?
Maybe it was about 20 years ago, I think.
Okay. Yeah, it's really easy to get a car loan, and it's fairly easy to get a home loan. And so that's the problem. If people lose a job, they won't, and then they have a variable interest rate. It's not good. So, all right. Okay, question for you, Alejandro. In the States, they give tax incentives or tax breaks to first-time buyers. So if you are a first-time buyer, you will get some extra money for being a first-time buyer. How about in Argentina?
For buy the first house?
Mm-hmm.
It's very difficult here because the prices of the houses are in dollars, and it's very difficult to save money because you can buy dollars for save. You need a mortgage or
Uh-huh.
something like that because the inflation is very high and our money
Mm-hmm.
lose the value
Mm-hmm.
all days.
Really? So your money has lost value. Is it?
Yes. I have a increase of salaries in 6 months
Mm-hmm.
because of the inflation.
Oh wow.
Yes.
So, but they increased your salary though because of the inflation?
Yes, and I don't know exactly the percentage, the inflation, but it's very high now.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Right. Um, okay. So Heidi, let's see. In Japan, if you pay off a mortgage or a car loan or something early, do you get a penalty for that?
One month or 2 months, it's okay. We can pay big amount, but maybe 3 months later, our house or cars were taken away by the bank. Bank will sell that things very low price.
Okay,
So,
no, that's default. That's not paying off.
oh,
So, okay, but you can answer that question too. So, how long can you default on the loan before they repossess? So you say 2 months?
2 months or 3 months.
Okay. Yeah, so that was a different question. So, yeah, I think that in the States for a car, it's about 2 months. But for a house, it's actually a lot longer. I know of a family who is living in a home, and her and her family are living in her brother's home, and her brother and his wife have not paid the payments in over a year.
Yeah, but the
And
monthly
so,
is quite high compared to
uh-huh,
our income. So when
yeah,
I postpone 1 month, it's very hard to pay next month.
yeah, true, true. All right. Okay, let's go on to the next topic. Let's match the explanation to the correct word or phrase from the exercise 3. So we'll be going back and forth, I guess. Um, Alejandro, could you read number 1
Yes.
and see if you can remember that?
When the value of a house is less than the remaining mortgage.
Mortgage. Okay, so
Mortgage.
remember in the pronunciation of this, the T is silent, so we say mortgage.
Mortgage.
Yeah, no T. Okay, so what does that mean? Which word does that mean?
Deposit.
No,
No.
no. The answer is on the screen.
Uh, Negative equity.
Yeah. So negative equity.
Equity.
So yeah. And do you guys know what equity is?
The difference.
Well, actually, this is the equity. Say, for example, you like for this is the equity is the amount you actually have paid into the house that you can get back. For example, in Finland, I bought a house, or I bought an apartment. I think it was for 72,000 euro. 4 years later, I sold it for 78,000 euro, and but I also got my loan terms at a fixed rate of 2.5% interest. And so when I finally sold the house, I had the €8,000 profit plus €4,000 in equity that I had paid into it because I had only had a 2.5% interest rate. So I actually, even though it was 6,000, no, it's six. I guess 6,000. Sorry, 6,000 that I made in profit, and it was I had 6,000 in equity. So, and that does that make sense? So the equity is what you pay into the loan, and if you sell it, if you sell it, that's what you basically that's how much you actually own on the house. So if that makes any sense. So
Okay.
okay. So Heidi, could you read the next one?
Someone who has never bought a house before. First buyer.
Yeah, first time buyer.
First time buyer.
Yeah, no worries. First time buyer. So that would be Alejandro. You will be a first time buyer when you finally buy your home. When do you plan on buying a home, Alejandro? In the next several years, or do you know?
Not now. Now I planning to living abroad.
Oh, awesome! So when you get back from, who knows, maybe you'll be like me. I actually, since I bought a house in Finland, and what happened was, it was on May Day. I was walking around town with a friend, and I was telling her that I was going to have to move house No, it wasn't that. I was just telling her, I think, that how frustrated I was with my house, and she said, Holly, why don't you consider buying? And so she said, I'll go with you to the bank. And so her and I went to the bank. We sat down and we just to see if it would work. And then like a month later, I was looking at houses and then a month later after that, I moved into my home. So it was really funny. I was like, really? So maybe you'll move to another country and be a first-time buyer there. So
Yeah, sure.
yeah. So Alejandro, number 3. Can you read that one?
When the amount of interest you pay the bank can change.
Okay. So the answer is
Uh,
there.
Variable rate.
Yes, variable rate. Okay. And Heidi, number 4.
Number 4, when the amount of interest you pay the bank doesn't change, fixed rate.
Fixed rate. Perfect. Okay. And Heidi, in your opinion, which is better when you get a mortgage, a fixed rate or a variable rate?
Now Japanese government is taking zero interest, interest.
Really? 0% interest?
Yeah. So if you borrow the bank, maybe the interest is 3 or 4%. No, less than 3%. Now, so fixed rate is much better than
Yeah.
variable.
Yeah. And mine was mine was a fixed. I got 2.5. It was fixed rate, but it varied by the year. So the first year it was 2.5. The second year was 3, and the third year it was like 2.75. But it's still very low. And I don't know how I was able to get that rate. It was great. So, all right, Alejandro, can you read number 5?
Yes, when someone stops is late paying a mortgage.
Okay. Let
Hmm,
me.
I don't remember. I don't know exactly.
Okay.
Repossession.
Repossession is when the bank takes the property back. So this happens before the bank repossesses.
To default.
To default, yeah.
Yeah.
I knew you would see it eventually. Okay, to default. Okay. All right, and Heidi, when the bank takes the property back. Oh, sorry, can you read that?
Repossession.
Repossession, yeah. Okay, and Alejandro.
Pay all the money you owe the bank. Pay off.
Yeah, to pay off. Perfect. And Heidi, I guess you can do number 7.
Make monthly payment to the bank. Monthly, so pay back.
To pay back. So to pay off is just to pay all the money you owe. To pay back is to pay monthly. Okay, and number 9, Alejandro.
An initial payment made before starting a mortgage. I don't remember the word. Deposit.
Correct. A deposit. And it's interesting because this can be a noun. It can be a deposit. Yeah, but and also it can be a verb. to deposit. This definition is a deposit, and then to deposit is to put money in the bank. And so that's what you're doing with when you deposit, is you put money in the bank. Okay, so Tom has just bought an apartment. Read his story and fill in the spaces with a word or phrase from exercise 4. You may need to make some minor changes. So, Heidi, can you read the first sentence?
I bought an apartment last week. It cost £170,000. I paid £17,000 as the deposit. So the total mortgage is £153,000.
Perfect. Okay. And Alejandro, could you read this sentence?
Yes, I make repayments every month. For the first 5 years, the amount won't change because I have a fixed rate
Yes.
mortgage. However, the rate will become variable rate after that. So the amount each month will depend on
Will depend on what?
will depend on interest rates. It's a 25 years mortgage, so I will be pay back every month until I have almost retired.
Yeah, so I would be paying back every month until I've almost retired. Yeah, okay. And Heidi, could you read this paragraph?
I don't have any experience with mortgages because I'm a first-time buyer. I'm a little worried about the housing market. If house prices drop, I'll have a negative equity. No?
Yes. Yeah, that's correct.
So it will be almost impossible to sell. Default is another worry.
I'm
No.
thinking the repossession. Let me look.
Repossession?
No, let's see. Bear with me a moment. That's number 7. Yeah, I was right. Repossession.
Repossession is another worry. A friend of mine, he's around a few years ago, default
Yeah.
on his loan a few years ago and lost his house. However, I still think that it's better to purchase a house than rent forever. I'm going to be so happy when I finally what? Finally to pay off.
Pay off the loan. Yep.
Pay off the loan.
Perfect. Very good. All right. So let's discuss this. Okay, a question before we go to this. I have a question here. It says it's a 25-year mortgage. In your countries, are mortgages that long or are they shorter?
In Japan, it's the same.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Depends on the age of the person and so forth. And Alejandro, how about in Argentina? Are mortgages that long?
It depends on the economy here is very variable. If you have a fixed rate or variable rate, I think it's 10 years or more.
Okay. Yeah.
Normal mortgage.
Yeah, I know when I was in Finland, I was offered a 20 and 25-year mortgage. And of course, your payment is lower when it's that longer. But I took a 15-year mortgage because if I had stayed, I only was there for 4 years owning the house. But if I would have stayed, I would have had it paid off when I was 50, which would have been awesome. But I didn't. So I think it's really important to pay off loans quicker if you can. So, all right. Okay, buying versus renting. So Alejandro, do most people in your country buy or rent property? When do people typically buy?
Now is more popular renting a property because of the economy. But for example, 10 years ago, the people buy houses because they are they were cheapest in comparison today, for example.
Okay. Yeah. So because it was cheaper, but now people are renting. Okay. And Heidi, how about in Japan?
I mentioned before, after bubble economy banned, then we call it lost 20 years. For 20 years, Japanese economy was very bad. But recently, it changed. So now Japanese economy is getting better and better. People started to buy their houses, or to renew their houses.
Oh, awesome. Okay, so when we say renew, you mean to get they're starting to we would say refinance.
Yes. For example, before people tend to live in outside of the city because they wanted to have garden or a garage. They had children, but they're getting older. The children already left their house. They want to buy the close to the station or city side. It's much convenient for all the couples.
Okay, so what's happening is right now the empty nesters are moving back into the city.
Yes.
Is what's happening. Okay, all right. Alejandro, do you think it's better to rent or buy? Why?
If you want to live all your life at the same place, I think is the best buy.
Okay.
But if you want to move to another country, for example, it's more better to rent.
Okay, thank you. And Heidi, what do you think? Is it better to rent or buy?
In Japan, if you rented the houses, the payments are very similar to the loan to buy the house. So buying a house is better.
Yeah.
Because 20 years or 25 years later, the house will be your own. But rental house, however, you paid a lot, but still the house is for the owners.
Hmm. Yeah, I always consider renting. What you do when you rent is you pay somebody's mortgage. You're not paying your own mortgage, you're paying somebody else's mortgage. Because and so like I think that, for example, I'm planning to eventually buy a home, and maybe in the next year or 2 or 3 years, it depends. And then again, I also have really considered, and I'm really considering thinking about going back abroad again in the next 5 or 10 years. So, say for example, if I buy a home in 2 years, and then I decide, okay, I'm going to go to Argentina and teach English, or go to China or Japan and teach English, for example, I would still continue owning that home. I would not sell it, and I would rent it out, and then somebody else would pay my mortgage while I'm away, and then when I'm ready to come back, I have this home waiting for me, and hopefully in good shape. If not, I'll just fix it and so forth. But that's kind of my plan. Even if I live abroad again, I'm still going to hopefully be a homeowner. But all right, next question. So Heidi, why don't you choose the question next? It can be in order if you'd like, but it can be any question. You answer it and then ask Alejandro.
Okay. Current economic situation. Do you think it's a good time to get a mortgage? Does property generally go up in value in your country? Yes, in Japan, yes. I mentioned before, lost 20 years.
Yeah.
The house price is getting lower and lower, but now it's getting higher. So it's a very good chance to buy your house.
Okay. Yeah, so it's a good time to buy right now in Japan. Awesome. All right. And Alejandro, what about in Argentina?
No, it's not a good time for buy a house right now. Maybe in the future the situation could be better. Be better.
And why is it a bad time to buy?
When?
Why? Because of the economic situation, or?
Yes, because the economic situation are very unstable, and the prices are very high. The prices of the house.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right, Alejandro, can you choose a question to ask?
Yes. What kind of financial institutions arrange a mortgage?
Okay. Can you answer the question first, and then Heidi can? So
Yeah,
in Argentina.
In Argentina is very common. The private banks give you a mortgage.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And Heidi, how about in your country?
We have two types of loans. First is from a country. Japanese government is lending money for the first buyer. First time buyer. Yeah, rest of money we can borrow from bank.
Okay. So you have like a federal loan that you can borrow from the government, and then the remainder you borrow from the bank. That's interesting. Yeah, because we just get a tax refund. So I know somebody who was a first-time buyer about 5 or 6 years ago, and I was really surprised that he had never bought before because he's older than me. And he ended up getting, about later on in the year, he got an $8,000 income tax check, fully because of his house, and he was very happy about that. So.
And even tax is very good for the first-time buyers.
Yeah.
They pay back the tax. They can end of year you can get a lot of money from the government.
That's good. It's very good. Yeah, Alejandro, do you know? Is it the same in Argentina? Do first-time buyers get help?
Yes, well, no, not really. They help you. Yes, they give you more facilities, but the loans are high.
Okay. Loans are high. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm interested in this last question here. Is it common for family members, such as parents, to assist financially when someone wants to buy a house? Heidi, what about in Japan?
Yeah, many people borrowed money from their parents. Parents already finished their loan, so they are quite rich. So,
yeah, they have extra money.
yeah.
Okay, and Alejandro, how about in Argentina?
It's very common that the family help you if you are married. If you are single, it's difficult.
Okay, they're like they want you to get married first.
Yeah, they want you get married, and after that you buy the house or living alone, living with your couple, for example.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and it's interesting in Finland and in the U.S., at least around the people that I know, it might be different, and it's of course different. It depends on the family, but a lot of families do not help, at least not with the down payment. Some families probably do, but a lot of families feel that for a purchase like that, it's really important to do it on your own. So that's how it is in my country. Finland was the same way. And so the dogs are going crazy, so I guess that means the class is over. So thank you both for your participation. I hope you learned some new words and phrases, and hope to see you in another class. Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye. Bye.